Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. The Datamines, we're going to check them out today from the patch day and the other little updates that we had. I will leave the links in the description for you to check it out as well. Thank you Ajude for doing the Datamines, and check it out, the post that I will post there on the comment or on the description, because there is basically a fundraising that they are trying to do for a museum basically that is trying to restore the Tigre, they call it 114, which is basically the only Tiger E working in the world, right? They need 150,000 euros, so I will leave the links in the description, okay, for you to check it out if you want to, okay? And yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to check it out on the game, and I'm gonna just stay staring on that screen and just check it out. They mentioned a little bit on the new economy updates and some things like that. I don't know if you noticed, guys, but some aircraft that had that in real life apparently received RWR warnings, depending if it's a friendly or a foe. So if it's a friendly, it will not appear on the RWR. It's working already, and it's pretty good. So a lot of the more modern aircraft have that, okay? The first real thing that I wanted to show to you guys is that the Su-29, the premium Su-25T, received the KH-29TE, okay? So the better version of the KH-29TE, right? It has a lot more range and a lot more lock range as well. It was added for the Su-25BM as well, so yeah, very, very cool. And they added the Cab 500 KR. Oh no, it's the normal KR. No, forget about it. But anyway, then the MX, it got some changes from the dev. Of course, they added a lot of the stuff that we already saw in the yesterday's video that I'm not gonna talk about. And yeah, some custom loadout changes. Nothing like particularly amazing about the MX, you know, in the sense of changes. It's just that it is properly implemented now. I don't know if you noticed, but now it has a thermal vision on the targeting pod over there, so that's pretty good. They properly implemented the fly model of the MX, right? I'm not gonna go through every single change on the fly model because in the dev server we couldn't actually fly the MX, so it doesn't matter too much, okay? But it basically got implemented properly, okay? But the F-15, it got some interesting changes. They added something very interesting for some of these aircraft. The flaps automatically retract after Mach 0.36, so yeah, very cool thing, right? Of course, he has some changes to the Oswald efficiency number increasing, so basically means that a lower you know, a lower coefficient of drag, which was basically what I thought it was on that video that I talked about, and basically increasing the turn. So comparing to the you know, the dev server that we had, the F-15 is supposed to be turning more depending on the speed, okay? So it depends on the speed, depends on the situation, but it should be turning more in a general sense, okay? Also with the flaps out as well, this was changed as well, and then they basically decreased a little bit of the drag as well. So overall, comparing to the dev server, they basically introduced the automatic flaps on, you know, retracting everything, and then it decreased the drag a little bit and increased basically the turn. Or they changed the Oswald efficiency number there. That basically means that it will turn a little bit more, okay? All the F-15s got that buff, so expect it to be a little bit better. This was on patch day, okay? But there is an interesting change as well. Compared to the dev server, the Su-27 and the J11 got a nerf on the turning on the same side. They decreased the Oswald efficiency number, meaning that they turn a little bit less than what it was on the dev server, okay? And they basically decreased the drag a little bit as well. So the coefficient of drag, it's not the overall drag, but it basically multipliers by the drag itself. So it is a pretty important number. You can check it out on the links in the description. So expect basically a nerf compared to the dev server on the turning capability and a buff on the drag of the Su-27s, okay? This is for the J11 as well. They added a very interesting and needed, in my opinion, depending on the situation and depending on how you like to fly, external fuel tank for the Mirage 2000 CS5. So you can see it clearly over here. Of course, the oh no, I thought the 2000D had it as well. And then we have the GRIPEN as well, some changes to the GRIPENs. The GRIPENs themselves, they were a little bit different on the feeling side of things, but now we can actually know what they changed. It wasn't a big change, okay, but they increased the drag coefficient of an air brake, which is good, you know, it means that the air brake works better. And they lowered the Oswald efficiency number without flaps, but you know, it doesn't have flaps. But it was just a tiny little thing from 0.67 to 0.64, but it just means that they decreased the turn of the aircraft a little bit more, okay? Everything else, I mean, they changed a little bit on how the elevator deflection tables change. So now it will basically pull less, or the canards basically in the elevator. I don't know if the canards actually enter in this, but in general, it will pull less elevator, you know, maneuvers basically, right? So it's complicated, but it is basically a nerf on the turn. They added the same kind of principle to the C variant as well, so both the GRIPENs are the same, okay? The damage model side of things, they changed it a little bit, changed the RWR for the F-15 BAS, for example, and the A, on the J as well. They basically decreased the BARAX targeting pod zoom. Okay, so there's many little things. Added night vision for the Phantom, the British Phantom, that you can see right here. The FGR2, for example, it has NVD now. So yeah, they updated the Mirage's 4000 cockpit, which is something that I will cover in my upcoming video on the Mirage 4000 as well, which is also a very nice thing. And they finally fixed it. The Magic 2 on the drop tanks can no longer be jettisoned. So yes, if you don't know, there was kind of a bug happening with the Magics that, not that, it was just a weird thing with the jettison of Magics and stuff. So they fixed it, kind of that. Added the HMS for the GRIPEN, of course. Properly implemented the rated and RWR for the GRIPEN. So very, very cool, of course. There was, I mean, you know, it's just the fixing of problems, right? They increased some zooms, decreased some other zooms of some helicopters like the Black Hawk and stuff. So yeah, they reworked, guys, on the all pull stopper, main pull stopper radars. So expect them to be different. I don't know exactly what it means, but they feel different. They feel a lot harder to notch. I gotta be honest. Every single radar, from an Su-27 for a MiG-29, an Yak-41, an F-15, F-16, all these radars, even the F-14, they all feel a little bit more unnotchable. Okay, so it's a little bit different on that side of things. But remember, the missiles still have the same kind of line of thinking on the amount of notching and everything that it's needed for it to miss the target. So it kind of doesn't like matter too much. It's just you're going to maintain a lock properly. It's just that there is a weird thing about locking chaff and stuff like that with the F-15 and Su-27 radars that I think it's just kind of weird. Okay, so it's I don't know. They had some changes to the armor MBT 2000, basically having a little buff on the armor. Let me just check over here. Some spalling was added. I don't know if you noticed that, guys. Oh, it's not there. But spalling was not only added for the 2A6 and or the T90M, it actually was added for other tanks. It's weird that some of them are appearing in certain ways or anything like that, but they are here. They are here, okay? So they added the spall liner, liner, I don't know, on some of these things, okay? So the majority of the NATO tanks, apart from like the Abrams and some others. Guys, basically this is it. There are other things there. There's 3 pages of stuff that you can actually check. Like, for example, they stated that the arrestor hook was finally added for the F-15, for example, to be used, etc., right? But I think the main things are that the fly model is very different from the dev server, especially the F-15, but the Su-27 and the GRIPEN are also a little bit. Remember, the F-15 was overall, in a good sense, buffed. the Su-27 was nerfed in a certain way and buffed in another, and in a general sense the GRIPEN feels a little bit nerfed, but it's a tiny difference from what it was. Not a tiny difference, but it's not that big of a difference compared to the others, I would say, right? At least all of these changes add up for a feeling of the aircraft when you are flying, and it changes a little bit, okay? I will leave everything on the description, as I said, for you to check it out. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, what was that? And yeah, I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye. See ya.